So you said what now? All right, let's see what 21 is. Okay, yeah. Now, I think what you're having trouble seeing is what triangles they're referring to, which I kind of totally agree. If I were looking at this right here, um, I think just by this triangle here is marked here and here, and this is G, this is H, and this is J. All right, now that's why I really like the iPads, because I can kind of take care of it. I can kind of slide it over here a little bit. Well, maybe not. Put it up here so I have room. And then, right, the next one I'm looking at is this right here. All right, so as I'm looking at this right here now, I think the reason most kids make a mistake is this is still G, this is still H, this is D, and now this right here, you with me? Right, so there is no mark here. So if I were to now grab this right here and pull it over here so we could see better, now can you see that G corresponds to itself? Right, does that make better sense now? All right, so again, it's kind of hard. I would have done it differently if I was writing this book about that symbolism, what it actually means. All right, so you now hopefully can see that H corresponds to D, and G obviously corresponds to itself. So now those are similar, and GH we had was 7, right? And then HJ we have as 10, and then 2x minus 2 and 2x plus 4. So it looks to me like, does everybody understand? Sometimes I just like to go 7 over 10. And then I say 7 corresponds between 1 mark and 2 marks. So 1 mark and 2 mark is 2x minus 2. And then 10, just to make sure I'm correct, is between no mark and 1 mark, which means 2x plus 4. Is everybody good on that? I think the hardest part is just setting it up. I don't have to worry about solving the proportion, where you just have to figure out what corresponds to what. Very, very important. The other one that's really super important here, somebody asked me about it yesterday. Yeah. Maybe not. Yeah, I don't think it's so bad. On 20, you could mark that a right angle. And what I like to do is I like to mark the angles that correspond. All right. Oh, yeah. I think this is the one that's important. 18 was the one that's really important. 18 is super important because that's going to be coming up. All right. When you have a right triangle and you draw the altitude. All right. Now, I almost thought you couldn't solve this one right away. Oh, yeah, it was you and I were doing it. All right. So the x plus 6 and the 3x minus 6. All right. I would just write that as the ratio. Right. So 3x minus 6 over x plus 6. Now, again, the 3x minus 6 is the hypotenuse of this triangle, right?
Yeah.
So I have to find the hypotenuse, which is what? 40. All right, so the 3x minus 6 corresponds to the 40. Now, the x plus 6 is the, yeah, so I need to show you this. This corresponds to this. Does everybody agree with that? It kind of looks weird because it looks like I chose the side for the triangle on the left, but I did not. Does everybody see that, right?
Yeah.
The UZ, and here's how I say it. This is the, well, I'll just do 2 marks here, which would make 2 marks up here because this is the right angle. So then x plus 6 corresponds, bless you. corresponds to the right angle and the 2 mark. All right, so that's why I'm trying to show you the right angle and the is here, right? But the problem is there's not a what? There's not a number there. All right, so at first I thought, I thought I'd done something wrong. All right, but you always have to be careful. They're always sneaky with the Pythagorean theorem, right?
Oh.
Right. So how you find this part right here, and again, I always try to remind kids, 40 is 8 times 5. This is 8 times 4, so that has to be 8 times 3. All right, it's the 3, 4, 5. And again, it just saves you a tremendous amount of time. I know everybody can here do 400 minus 32, or 40 squared minus 32 squared, and then take the square root. It's not that big of a deal. All right, but I really wish you would learn it as 8 times 5, 8 times 4, and then the other one's 8 times 3. And so now 8 times 3 is 24, correct? So then we can just put 24 down here. Now, is it a good idea that I can reduce this first?
No.
Yeah, actually, remember, if you reduce, it's the same fraction. All right? So in my opinion, whenever I can reduce, I do. So this right here would be better. I mean, you're still going to get the same answer, but if you leave it as 5 over 3, that's going to work out. All right? Any other questions?
Can you put 24 over whatever?
Yes, 24 over x plus 6 equals 40 over 3x minus 6. There's lots of ways to write the proportion.
That's why.
The corresponding sides have to go together. These are the sides of the triangle on the left. These are the sides of the triangle on the right. But you can also go small side to small side, large to large. It's the same thing. All right, it's the same thing. All right, so let's go ahead, guys. I'm running a little behind, so again, let's get these papers up, ready to go. All right, let's go. Let me have them. Yeah. Pass them down here. All right, and that way I don't have to.
Yeah. Actually, no, Dan. That guy looks.
And look, the other thing is, guys, if you didn't do your homework, all right, don't make me hunt you down. All right, I don't want to do that. All right, it's not really that big of a deal. If you didn't do it, here's infraction formula here. Just take care of it. All right. I know things come up. All right. All right. So now we are doing.
300.
What page are we doing now?
25.
All right. Oh yeah, today is another really, really simple day. All right, really simple. All right, really. And I honestly, I hope you feel that way about the lesson, right? If you can write a proportion, you can do these problems. All right. It's the same thing for today. All right. So let's take a look at this figure real quick. All right. If you draw a triangle, and again, I just didn't need anybody even ever to show me this because I thought it was just obvious, right? If I draw parallel lines through this triangle, what do you think is true about the triangles that were created?
Similar.
Yes, that's exactly right. They're similar. How do we know they're similar? Well, we know they're similar because the angles are what?
The corresponding.
Yes, the corresponding angles are congruent. Everybody with me on this?
Yes.
All right, very simple. All right. Now, the other thing that is true, all right, and again, I just thought it was very logical. Does everybody see how xm and my and xn and nz are going to be divided into what? Proportions.
Oh, yeah.
All right. They're divided proportionally. So, for example, eyes up, xm over xn is equal to my over what? nz. Everybody with me? Now, here is the mistake that kids make. And if you just pay attention for a minute, you can avoid the mistake. All right? Is my a side of a triangle?
No.
No, it is not. So you cannot say, for example, my over nz is equal to, for example, yz over mn. Did I see that? That's not true. Because mn and yz are sides of a what? They're sides of the triangle. Right? The sides of the triangle are similar, but my is a what? Part. Do we agree with that? So now you have to understand, if you're going to relate xm to xn, all right, that is the same ratio as xy over what? Xz. So we're good with that. All right, now this part, xm over xn, is similar to my over nz. Do we agree with that? Because don't think of it as a what? As a triangle. Think of it as the lines are being what? Divided evenly. All right? Or at the same ratio. All right, does everybody see that?
Yes.
All right, so again, the number one thing that kids make mistakes on is xm and my. All right, yes.
Why is it xm over xn equals xy?
It is. It can be also. It just wouldn't be the same ratio. You understand what I'm saying, right?
How do you do it?
Well, for example, this could be, watch, this could be 2 over 3. This could be 4 over 6. You with me on that?
Yeah.
All right. Which would not be the same if I add this and add that, right?
Yeah.
Multiplication is okay, addition is not. Does everybody agree with that? When you add, the fractions don't remain the same. Does everybody agree? When you multiply, the fractions do what? Remain the same. Now, I just said something, hopefully that everybody just understood. I'm going to say it one more time, just because Casey had a question with it. This over this is equal to this over this. Agreed?
Yes.
xm over xy is equal to xn over xz. Does everybody agree with that? Are all of those fractions the same? No, they are not. Agreed? Yes.
195.
195. Thank you. All right. So with that explanation, I really do think that's all there was. All right. And let's see how we can address that. So over here now, it says xm is 4. So let's go ahead and mark it. By the way, did everybody see all the new colors? Did I tell you this?
Yeah.
You can create your own colors. It's really cool.
But it's not on Notability.
Yes.
Yeah, when you get the updated version.
That's on Notability, but our paper is on.
Oh, yeah. All right, I just want to show you because I do think it was kind of cool.
Just me.
All right, so xm is 4, and then it says xn is 6. That's kind of funny. And then nz is what? 9. So we want to find what?
X. Or XY. So
We want to find xy. So this is what we're looking for. Do you agree with that? So now we would have to write it as what? Okay, yes, you're correct, but I'm just going to go ahead and write 4/6. All right? So we have the top side and the bottom side is equal to what?
X over that amount.
X over,
3.
yes, X over 15. Come on now, I said it's easy now. You guys should all be able to respond to that. All right, because now when you respond, you're saying whether or not you understand what I'm saying. And I don't think some of you quite get that. Participate in class. I promise it's much easier. Writing down what I'm telling you isn't making sense. You're supposed to tell me if that's right or not. What? No, it wasn't 300.
I know.
All right.
Why did you put XZ down?
Why did I put?
The 50.
Is it 6 or that's not?
I know, but why did you do 6?
Well, that's what measures you need.
Come on, Walker. Instead of being funny over there now. 4 is this side of the triangle. that corresponds to this side. Agreed? 6 is this. That corresponds to the whole thing. Are you not seeing it?
I kind of see.
All right, I'll go super slow for you, Walker, today. All right, here we go. So this is the best I can do. Here, here, here. This is X, M, and N. So I'm taking this and sliding it out. All right, now what I'm going to do for you is I'm going to take this and I'm going to wipe that out. I'm going to wipe this out, and now I'm going to wipe this out. And so now we have it back to normal now. It says XM is 4. And then it says XN is 6. NZ is, where is Z at? Oh yeah, NZ is the same from here to here is 9. But this part right here was what? 6. So that whole length is what? Now do you see it?
I see how you got it, but I'm confused with the proportion. So it's 4/6 because
XY is what we don't know.
and that's what X. And then okay, I see. Because
You don't have to explain it. All right? Now when you cross multiply, what does X come out to be? Is it 10?
Yeah. But if people did it the other way over 9, then you could just add the 4.
Yep.
See,
Anybody have any
it's just
questions?
easier to get it done in one swipe.
Right.
Then
All right, number 2. Here we go.
Click on me.
All right. So now let's set up for question number 2 now. All right. So on question number 2, XN is 6. And then XM is 2. And XY is 10. Find NZ. All right. So this is what we're interested in now. All right. So to me, the best way is to do MY. MY is how much? MY is 8. Everybody okay with that? And so now we can say 1, well, yes, but just for the slow, 2/6 equals what? 8/X. What do you mean? No. I think it. No. That's why I erased it and started over, right? They're totally different now, right? You see what I'm saying? They're just a different question. All right. Everybody okay with that? And so when you solve this, X has to be what? 24. All right, here we go. Let's check out number 3 now. All right. In triangle ABC, BC is 15. All right. So again, here's how I like to draw that so I don't get confused. BC is 15. And then BE is 6. All right, so in my head, right off the bat, I'll just go ahead and write that as 9, just in case. DC is what? 12. And AD is 8. Determine whether they are parallel. What are you guys thinking? Because why? 6/8 is equal to what? 9/12. 3/4 is equal to 3/4. So yes, they are parallel. It's kind of like the converse. All right.
Wait, what were the problems?
What? Okay, then we're good. Right? I'm just saying there's different ways you can set it up, right? All right, question number 4. Here we go. All right, JK is 15. All right, so from here to here is 15. And then JM is 5. So MK would be 10. Then it says LK is 13. PK is 9. So that'd be 9. That would be 4. So now we can clearly say they're what? They're not parallel. All right, they're definitely not parallel because 5 over 4 does not equal 10 over 9. 5 over 4 and 10 over 9. You okay with that, Casey? Yeah. You do the sides of the triangle, but you can do the parts. Yeah, I'm totally fine. All right, here we go. Number 5. All right, so mid-segment just probably means it is right in the middle. All right. Now, if it is the middle, I want everybody to see that is equal to that. Now watch. This would be equal to this, right?
Yes.
All right. So what do you think x is? Has to be 11, right? Very simple. All right. Halfway. All right. So it's 11. I also want to try to show you this real quick. So if this is the mid segment down here, right? Does everybody agree I could mark 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, right? Now watch. I'm going to connect from here to here. Right? So what do you think is true about all 4 of those triangles? Yeah, they are all congruent. It would be really easy to prove because these are parallel. That would be equal to that. And now you can prove the triangles are congruent. Does everybody see that? Now, the one thing they're going to start asking you about is this that I want you to just be aware of. Right? This middle triangle is actually what? Flipped what? Upside down. All right? Now, again, what I want to do is I'm trying to show you how, again, it didn't work out for me on the last test. But I'm always trying to show you it's not really possible to remember all the rules. So when I first learned this, there's no way I could remember everything, all the details. So every time I'm able to reproduce this really simply. All right? I know that, and try to watch, I know that this has 1 mark, this has 2 marks. So what am I going to probably do to L? Put what? 3 marks. 1, 2, 3. All right? Now, what you're trying to realize now is that those angles, all right, are going to be reproduced in the other triangles. Now, what exactly? This right here, this side is equivalent to, in other words, I don't know, let me just call this x. If jx is going to be equivalent to what? LH and HM. All right? This distance right here, and just let me show you what I mean, would have to be 11, right? Which is the same as what? This 11 up here. Is everybody agreeing with me? So now I can see why all of the triangles are congruent. All the triangles are congruent because they have the same tick marks on all of them. All right? Does everybody see what I'm getting at? All right, hopefully you understand that. All right, so on these, it wasn't real difficult for me to figure out that all 4 triangles were congruent. It's just the inside triangle is flipped and rotated. Hopefully you can see that. In other words, this side over here is over on this side. All right? So hopefully you can see what I'm saying about it's flipped. All right? So the mid-segment of a triangle, if you draw all 3 mid-segments, divides it into 4 congruent triangles. All right. So let's take a look at number 5. So number 5 obviously is what? 10. All right. Very simple. All right. Again, if it's a mid-segment, you would say that's equal to that, and these two are equal. If that's true, it's right in the middle. All right. So now for question number 7. Again, a lot of this does have to do. So let's see what we have here. Refer to the map to the right. 3rd Avenue and 5th Avenue are parallel. If the distance from 3rd to City Hall is, let me write this down now. If the distance from 3rd Avenue to City Mall along the street is 3201, where am I at?
You're at that bottom.
3rd Avenue, right here. Is this what you're telling me?
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
And I'm going down State Street, and that whole thing is what? Yeah, 3201. So then I just have to subtract 3201 from 1056, right? Who's going to, is that, you agree with that? So that's what? How much? 2145. And we want to know the distance between 5th and City,
That's right.
between 5th Avenue and the City Mall along Union Street. So is this what we're looking for right here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So again, big deal. You're just writing a proportion with bigger numbers, right? So in this case, it would just be 1162 over 1056 is equal to x over 2145. And so now just go 1162 times 2145 divided by 1056. How much is it?
2360.
All right. 2360.
Yes. 2360.
All right. Approximately 2360. All right. I'm good with that. 2360 feet. All right. Now remember what I'm trying to tell you. You're supposed to be working with me, trying to set up the proportion. All right. So I don't think that's that bad.
So we multiplied 1162 times 2145. Yeah, and then divided it.
So do that on your calculator. Then you know if I'm right or not. That's what I'm saying. Some of you just going, yeah, that's correct. You didn't do it on your calculator. Try it on your calculator. Then you won't have to ask me if that's correct. If what you're doing is different from the answer on the board, that's when you say, hey, I'm not doing it. Or I got something different. Because I'm not saying that's right. Because I don't have the calculator. I'm asking you to do the work. And then you can tell whether or not you understand what's going on. All right? Everybody good with that? All right. I'm agreeing. All right. So over here, yeah, they're trying to be sneaky here. Now let's work on our mental math. So what's true? Somebody set an equation for me. Yes. Don't do a proportion here, right? We can't do proportions because then we'd have what? 2 variables. Right? Because this is the mid segment, we're just going to say, listen, practicing right now. All right? I want you practicing your mental math. 1/2 y plus 20 equals 3y. So we're going to solve this. So 3, what?
Oh,
Tell me, yeah. Y equals 8.
How do you know it's a mid-segment?
Because it's showing you this is equal to this. Right? So yes, a quick way is if you don't like the 1/2, you can just multiply by what? Multiply by 2, right? So you could say that y plus 40 equals 6y. Y equals 8. Thank you. Everybody good on that? It's not bad. So if y equals 8, that means each side is what? 24. Do you agree with that? All right. Now, same principle down here. All right. Then we can just say 20 minus 3x is equal to 2x minus 5. So come on, do the mental math there and tell me x equals what? x equals 5. Come on, I'm expecting you to be able to do that. Everybody agree? Your math teacher will be mad at you next year, but you have to worry about that later. All right, x equals 5. Same thing, principle over here now. What do we got? 12 minus 3y is equal to, so tell me the answer. Say it. Y equals
Y was 2.
2. Thank you very much. Y equals 2. Right? Any issues with that? All right, now we're looking at the x's. So 1/4 x plus 6 equals 2x minus 29. All right, try to do the mental math there. Try to do it all in your head. What is it? Somebody got x equals 5. That's pretty good. I'm not saying it's right yet, but x equals 5. 20? Okay, we're good. X equals 20.
Wait, are you up?
You can do whatever you want. Now here we go. Let's talk about this real quick, guys, because again, all right, I want to make sure that, you know, everybody's able to do the fractions super easily. All right, so 2 is how many fourths? 2 is 8/4, correct? So if I subtract 1/4, it'll be what? So you're supposed to be able to say 7/4 is equal to 35. Now remember, you're just dividing by what? 7. And multiplying by what? 4. All right? And these are the types of things that are going to make you much better. All right? You have to be good at that. X equals 20, right? I don't think that's that bad. All right? Practice. All right? I don't want to use a calculator on everything.
Just remember what you did quickly.
Yeah, no, I'm glad. No, I want... That's what some people don't understand. If you can't do it, we want to show you. All right? So are you good with 7/4?
Yes.
Okay. So now it's always multiplied by the reciprocal, right?
Oh, yeah.
So it's
Yeah.
better to divide by 7 first.
Okay.
And then multiply by 4, because that's supposed to be a 5.
All right.
All right. I'm feeling pretty good about that. All right. Now, again, I'm looking here. I'm trying to find something difficult. I'm not seeing anything difficult. All right, it's all about setting them up. All right, I didn't even ask you to do any of the proofs, so I don't even care about that. Right? What I want you to do is make sure you're good with the proportions. Does anybody have any questions? All right, I think it's easy, but as I say, if you're not working it, you're not doing it, it's not going to be so easy. All right, and especially what's annoying is Thanksgiving, all right, that we have to go away for a week and then come back, and then we have to relearn everything. All right, because I think we are having a test the first week back, probably on that Thursday. All right, over this chapter. And then I have one more chapter to go, which is chapter what? 8. And we will be what? We will be only have 4 chapters left. All right, for semester 3 or for quarter 3.